Therefore, your mama good afternoon, good evening, good night. One more de den na won't you pen ni paper ye be dear. Menya me nua ba penny a wo ba bekyerɛ yɛn sikasɛm ho nimdeɛ. Ne ahwɛ sɛ nea yɛbɛsi a yɛbɛtu anammɔn nafa saa bere yi a yɛwɔ mu mu. Broni frɛ biribi budgeting. Ɛsɛ sɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛdane osafo mafo na yɛ budget. Yɛde pen ne paper to yɛ sikasɛm ho. Na yɛhwɛ sɛ nea yɛbɛtutu anammɔn no ama na si yie. Na sister Yaba, I've had a lot of flack from people that say that they don't know how to speak Tree or they don't understand Tree. And you know, I think that we're going to mix and match, speak
Okay.
and switch to Tree so that people can understand. I am not an Ashanti by any stretch of the imagination, but I grew up around them. Now, there's certain things that when it's spoken in your mother tongue, it does something different. It's like it gets into your head and you actually understand the depth of what we're talking about. Money is something that as Africans we don't like to talk about much. We think say it's somebody's private business. We don't have to talk about it. It's none of our business. We have to, mind our businesses. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of the things that you and I have spoken about behind the cameras, if I had known 10 years back, my life would have been completely different. I have made some monumental errors in my own life, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one that has made these mistakes in my lifetime. And so this is an opportunity for people to learn how to better manage their money. You've made mistakes, there's nothing you can do about them. But you have an opportunity. The fact that you're alive today, you have the opportunity to rewrite your story, to right the wrongs, and move forward. And that is what we are all about. And so, very welcome to you. A very warm welcome to you, my dear sister Yaba. How are you doing today, darling?
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm so honored. You have no idea. I mean, when I got the message, to be honest, if it was April Fool, face of April, I thought it was an April, it was a prank. But I am so honored, and anything I can remember, anything I have, I'm more than happy to give it to you. And if people come afterwards and ask you any questions, any advice, anything, I would give it to you to give to them. It is so important. It is one of the things that those of us in the UK, have actually campaigned. He's actually campaigning for money to be taught in schools. And I think he has got some progress somewhere whereby certain schools, even I think if you go to your school, your kid's school, and you actually ask them that why aren't they teaching about money, there's something they can do about it. It is something he is passionate about. And to be honest with you, even though that is what I do in my profession, it is not taught to us how we need to use our money on a daily basis. So we make all these mistakes. But the good thing about it is that the beginning of change is when you realize that you've made a mistake. That change starts. And that is when you can move forward and make an impact on your money that you have. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
You are so welcome, darling. And I have got my pen. This is my notepad. I have my pen ready, about to learn. Etiefo, me pesa me kan se mi wo twi mu na me kyerɛkyerɛ mu na afei yɛsan kɔ back to brɔfo bio. Nea me kan wɔ brɔfo pɔtɔ kasa mu ane sɛ me nua ba ya ɔno wɔyɛ manager wɔ sikasɛm ho. Me mɛkɔ a me ti hei. Sɛ nka me nya obi te sɛ me nua ba yi mfie bɛyɛ sɛ edu num bi akyi. 15 years back, time I no massive so fofra, me school fofra, me feel say I've arrived, no. And anka me share me nua bay. Emma ni tu me fubi. E chere me anamo bi esese me tu fa me sikasem ho na me mfa ne se bi sika de betom account mu de ani nyina ya me de anti me di ne nyafu na. Enka me nua shebre bi a me wom sesi a me try se me free mu no nke bi ananka sa shebre no antome. Aye ni bresem sa asem we me kan na me yatinisi, I get really emotional about it because so one show sika sem ya minia. Now one manage sika ni yi, you would cry. It has cost a lot of people. In today's world, with everything going on, people have become suicidal because they haven't managed their money properly. Enti ena ye besua budgeting ho asem. Me nua ba no eye ne bread and butter me mekua me enye ho na me ma chede na wo nti me di me nua ba we wo ho nim di aba ese wo me kire kire ye ne nyina ye nsua. Let us all learn because this is important. So without wasting too much time, my darling, I'll share a little bit about myself. So my background is in engineering and urban planning. That's what I've done for the last 15 years. And I'm not a money person by any stretch of the imagination. I was just an, usual African-born child that arrived in England, having gone to Africa as a child, brought back to England again as an adult, and starting off life, right? And I got my first job, I got my first salary, and I just kept spending. Spend, spend, spend. It's time to have fun. I've left home, I'm on my own, I can spend what I like, it's my money. And I got into very serious trouble very quickly. So, sis, why is it important to know how to manage our money? Why?
First of all, because I would say to cover yourself for uncertainties. So we don't know, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
True.
So it is so important that you plan, you know what is coming in, you know what is going out, so that if you face the uncertainties, you are able to cover those uncertainties. It is managing your money so that at least you can leave something for your kids, because it's very important. If you know how to manage your money, chances are you're going to teach your kids how to manage their money. So that is also another reason why I'll say it is very important. And it gives you some liberation, that you are in control of your money and your money is not in control of you. So those are the things for now. I would say it's important for you to sort of know exactly what comes in and what goes out. It is very important. And it is a simple fact of you cannot spend what you don't have. So if your money comes in and you're not managing your money and you're spending more than you have, you're obviously spending money that you don't have. And it comes with consequences.
Enti sis, asɛm a woka ne sɛ, ɛho hia. Ɛsɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛbɛtoto yɛanammɔn ɛfa yɛ sikasɛm ho ɛyie. Ɛsiane sɛ, ɛnyɛ saa na da bia wode ka na wotwi credit card.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us live in the West where, once you have a good credit history, the banks can see that there's money coming in regularly. They start to entice you with credit cards. You can have a credit card with $20,000. You can have a credit card with £15,000. You can have a credit card with £10,000. And a lot of us see that and think, oh, yeah, this is more spending money. I can go to watch the teletext on the telly and buy stuff with it. And this is how a lot of us have ended up in the situations in which we find ourselves. And so, sis, what is the first step? So let's say I have a job like you're an accountant. Let's say I have a job, I work for Sainsbury's and I make $2,000, £2,000 every month. When you're talking about budgeting, what are you actually talking about? When you say we should manage our money, what do you mean?
I'm talking about knowing how much of your money comes in every month. And I would say this, and look, as Sika has said, send you Sika yen. Nyema bebre, and yemi kura me accountant to cry. I've made my fair share of mistakes. But I would say, certain things, when you write it down and it's tangible and you can see it, shows you the picture of what is actually going on. But putting the thing on pen and paper makes a lot of difference. The good thing is that we have apps near Diakra, Sesia, Kranina, they do that. Ebin Mohokra apps, Nibi Okra, Winya Kranes, Udu Sikatum. Let's say you are going over your expenditure, you are going over your Sika Uwa Betinia Spenia. It will actually send you an alert and tell you. But it is very important for you to budget because Sebio Sebita fraction. If you are working and you're on a salary, whose expenses are now within the year is coming out of that your friend is saying sikano. And the fans are $10,000 a year now, $50,000 a year. So we better add £2, so better add 10,000, so better the mini free. Until said the next year in the ban next salary, no, that amount of money you're spending is coming from that particular money. And it is important to say, would it penny paper because say would need a juma for bia we will baby as can be babe it is coming from the same pocket. Sir coffers now. In juma for and everybody why companies near there they have their money. Department be a baby a year be a will be a obeting spending. Who spend brew sick and swag? Yes, so now new boss caucus and I will explain it and say, hey, we patch up £500 I'm the mommy now so me here 100 account and you need to justify that. Unfortunately, in the end, we don't have to justify it to anybody, but you have to justify it to yourself why you need to spend the extra money that will take you out of your budget and if it is worth you spending. Now, you were talking about something to do with bank, I will quote you credit card. And recently I learned something. Says yes, I would seek to banker. Next, I will cast a woo severe. How much interest do you get? So when you have 2% interest, crana, would down yamias. But look at it this way. So borrow sika. What is the interest rate they give you on a credit card? Kwata crown, be a woody fan, so we book it the excellent credit. You will get maybe about 6-7%. If you take the 2% now when your interest room, now we'll take it 7%. That's a wee free ma. That 5% ne won't fin. Who do we think it goes to? It goes to the bank. And that is why they make more money on us. It is so important to say when you are making certain decisions, no, yeah, cast a credit card, you can. And one of the people these days I tend to listen to a lot. You hear me mention his name, is this Martin Lewis guy. He explains to you, cast a credit card in yet, but who got G credit card the next would try there was so. Busume soon answer the interest never to so. It is so important because sikan kitten na even yen funny say we bank back. Next now £1 crown or more year what nipa back so. Next 100,000, they have 100,000 customers. How much money is that making them? That's 100,000. That is going into their pocket. And we all know, say it is not a pound that they charge. When you look at every time you're saving, say corona ni adi kra, would you see kakra to bank kra nesa unya 1p film kra would down yamias. Say if it is 1% and the card that you are borrowing is 17 or over 10%, take the difference and ask yourself the question, who is getting the difference? If it is not you, it is going to somebody. And that person is making money out of you.
And to Sister Yaba, let's come back to yen everyday human being. Me yeah juma or Tesco, busume so a yetua me 1,500, £2,000. My salary no. And no kra makano bebre, but I just wanted to use a roundish number. Send ye beya. Ye ka budgeting no ho asem wa yetimi a explain ya ma na to aso. Enti 2,000 na me ka na ye sika abeto ya titi bibia aban ya titi ne bibia wie no. 2,000 na beba me account mu busome. Enti se mfie be se edumienu na ewo afie ni mu a. Now the 2,000 multiply 12 months. Now that means my take home salary for the year no is 24,000. And sister, let's do it from a monthly basis. And let's use me as an example. Me nya 2,000 busumi and never tom account mu. Me wo kunu. Me wo mami ensa. Me kunu nso ye adwuma, ono nso nya 2,000 sa de ba. Nti na che say the total sika e be fie no e 4,000 pounds busumi. Yeah, wo mami ensa. So there's a family of 4. Who can budgeting who asem wa? E de be nneema na sese ye consider 4,000 naba. Yanya ne den.
Until 4,000 naba. The most important thing for you is where you live. Baby, I will do tito. That is important. For every budgeting you do, your rent needs to be the top of your list. Because when you are rent near 250, we need baby to crowd up there are certain expenses that are a must. Inti se wo ye wo budgeting sheet na wo sika ebe nyina obi wo ho a if the salary a wo je no yemfa say permanent salary a wo je yemfa say 2000 na se wo sika nkitinkiti bi ebe nchen a eno wo de beto so but wo mfa nto so se bosumi bia because what would happen is say mfa say bia out of example, we ye juice plus, we ye web top, we ye say necessary ban enye consistent. You have to be very careful because one say ye na say bia uka se busumi bia no minya $500 and £500 from that money. Na say enye no cry. You might go over usika. If you will rent, we can I'm saying it from Obi or UK point of view. We rent, we cancel tax, we work car. Car sika esise utua road tax nyama eya aban ho nyama a ese utua electricity bill light bill those important things that insurance esise utua ebia health insurance a esise utua nyama bia eya te say credit card ni sanyama es bills it's their bills but their bills are ekwan wo ho meka se ekwan wo ho a enye se mentua. But the most important ones, so we fancy be assume say we deka. Now wako say wako sankrofo cry from senkra. One wa we dekwa agency fi obi ho e bia we say okay, me tua make nyina nti say ni say ya. The most important bills they look at are your rent, your council tax, your electricity, your light because I know the uchu mutanya it will be running. Nti say utua. Wuti dining ese utua. Credit card, no, it is because you are using it. You can stop using it. So ultimately, say car be no wako free. Yetimiji card is free. Yeka sementia. But nyam a kebi wa you cannot get rid of it. You have to pay it. And if I say we do bako childminder, it is a must. Because one for bank childminder. Untimi yejuma. Into a do bako childminder. Into those bills should come right after wire income no niebe mono. Those bills should come literally after. Ube calculating ube doing whatever it is our person to no one who say okay me 2000 I mean be a saying a semi every month me trim mutai way answers unless you say be an infant say at the end of the year no ye the kakrabe to so now what's sano at the end of every year $800 and no necessity into enu de me trim mutanya sa 800 no every month be a semi.
And he says, from what you're saying, I'm going to go into English a bit now. From what you're saying, I used myself as an example. And what I was saying was that you make £2,000 every single month. That is what comes to me after the government has taxed my income and everything.
Yeah.
I have a husband, and this is a hypothetical scenario just to explain to people. So yeah. I make £2,000 every month. My husband makes £2,000 every month, and we have 2 kids. So there's a family of 4, and the total amount of income coming in after taxes are paid monthly is £4,000. Now, from what she was saying, guys, Yaba was saying that there are certain expenses that are absolute. You have to pay them. Absolutely have to pay them. Your rent or mortgage, your utilities, your gas bill, electricity, water, whatever, those expenses, utilities, you have to pay for. Yeah. She talked about things like credit card. And she said that those are optional because it's based on you choosing to use your credit card or not use your credit card. If you don't have the money to afford to use a credit card, don't use your credit card. Simple as that. But there's certain expenses that are a must. You have to pay them. Your rent being one of them, your insurance being one of them, utilities. Now, once all those bills have been paid, food must be one of them too, right? Your grocery shopping, because you've got to eat.
You have to account for food as well. But if you have to account for food, now you have to decide which is your priority. Would you rather spend on your credit card or would you rather spend on food? Now, if you have kids, you don't have a choice, because if you decide to take your credit card over your kids will be taken away from you, because it means that you are not looking after your kids properly. Until you have to decide where you're going to put you're going to spend your money. You're going to do food. Now, when it comes to food, it also is a personal choice. Wuna wunim sika eba. wuna wunim sika aka. Why you way? What would you 2,000? We try with bills, we try with mortgage, ni with taxes, say we try any your friend is saying yes, say we try na. We try ni we aka 1,000. Ni nyina gyina wo so baby a wobekwa akodi udwa a wobekwa akoye wo shopping. And me pamucho. Se wo decide say okay, we your list. Na say wo koye shopping na. It's even though you say we who say oh okay say aka 1,000. You have to decide say busumi biano. How much am I spending on food? Most of the time, let's say you'll be shopping, obi wa be shopping bulk, obi wa be shopping kitty. But it is adamant say, and that is the purpose of budgeting, so that you stay within the limits that you are meant to, the limits that you have. It is a wa connect say wo kwa akoto ade ne yesi okay. Me koto box of cornflakes. Box of cornflakes ni yesi ba ku bia ye jama say £1.50. But we drew hon yesi we to £2 2 yeba ma £2. Udrin house ye we me save £1. But it is money you haven't budgeted for you are using, even though it is 50p. Now you need to look at it this way. So we are shopping now we do till and I say baby a wo kwa akoto ade bia we do till na say we drew hon na we bisa cashier and say me ba cho. Me ba say me ba be shopping no £100 na me ba say me ba be, but me kita 99.99. Nessa cashier ne be dia and yeah, you are capable of you could do that. But so far as I'm aware, no, would do till be now catch cashier and say sikane $100 and £100. But me per se me 99.99. I have never seen any cashier that will say yes. Because you know what? Honestly, till be short. Because if everybody comes and everybody says the same thing to them and they do that for them, it means their till short. If you look at it this way, a big company like some of these supermarkets we have, the Walmarts, your Asda's and stuff, if they don't want to give their 1 penny to you, why would you want to spend your 1 penny on them? And trust me, those marketing schemes are they do it for you to buy the items. Now let me tell you one secret, and this I learned. So car, say the car is interest free. Yaba, it is never interest free, because behind the scenes, no, they calculate the interest. And you say, no customer need you can't search or send a bear attractive, no about the but in the accounting world, no, we have to calculate for interest. And that is how it works. And you are better off say, okay, me who offer that be ending. And the thing is, now you are actually disciplining yourself when it comes to certain things. Ube realizes say, ebia udru till a ube drink conference no I want to conference. Unya PF till ho na udi nyamani gu ka no ma.
Free dream.
And that is £50, 50p you haven't spent. And it is important say when you go, because most of the time because grocery shopping now, we make a list of nyama here. Ubedu shop on nyama ne bu for ya titi so no ye di nyama ni nyina aba betututu ho bronye be amanfo to top presents ni ade de ye we ni nyina. And I'm not saying say don't buy it, but if you haven't made provision for that in your income that is coming in, because bear in mind say this nyama ye to nyina, it is coming from our monthly money and our salary. Especially if there is nothing else coming in. If there is something else coming in, then best substitute. But if there is nothing else coming out, unless you say too low to be now himself be winning no. Say sikana na every moba. And you make me I do first of all I do the fixed expenses, which I know say they never change. Then I have maybe I invest in my credit card and I say my expenses then I have my one-offs. My one-offs here. Oh, this month yes, say me yes say na ma the be and no so no me din kolani de beka ho, because in kolano every so often be a won beba. Mommy, I need this. Mommy, I need that. You make a bit of provision. But whatever it is you do, as I say, at the end of time, there is enough sebita frache fancy wouldn't say there's an emergency. Obi or hokra or tiny emergency to and son way in your ABS or the savvy or see okay, we may emergency. It wouldn't say emergency BCA. Who see can you be out the sadia? And yen now most of us in your kaka, you know some of these emergencies they come up. And she said, Eba apesana, you don't necessarily have to tap into your credit card. Because the who could tap into your credit card, let's say bill, let's say be a bare 1,000. Let's say 1,000 that you haven't budgeted for. Let's say be a sabo sumi never ban won't mean clear £1,000 bill now. You end up in the cycle whereby you would have to pay that interest rate, which half of it or more than half of it or 90% of it is going to the banker.
Sister Yaba, this has been a very eye-opening session so far. I mean, it's snowing outside. It's very cold. Oh no. But guys, more seriously, if I had some of the knowledge that my sister is imparting now, 10 years ago, I would have done things very, very differently. A lot of people have arrived to the West from Ghana, from Africa, wherever it is you've come from, where, you know, you don't have access to certain products from banks, credit card. Ghana, there's this, you know, who does that? You're not giving anything. You just have a bank account so that your salary, if you're a salaried worker, it's for the salary to be paid in. That is it. People go in at the end of the month, withdraw their money and do what they have to do with it. Then you arrive in the West, you've got a job, you have a bank account, they pay you money. And with time, the bank starts offering you all these things, you know, credit card, this, that, and you're so excited. But they have their place. It's there for a reason. And you have to know what their reasons are, how to use it sensibly in order to not get yourself into trouble. A lot of people, sis, have spent money because, and as a credit card, into me the 5,000 cry a party, your party new year, no me and kakra. You know, people have become so comfortable. It's like, oh, nasa credit card. And I've seen a lot of people spiral out of control with this whole credit card thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why banks do this to us, but they also want to keep you sucked in so that they can make the maximum money out of you.
Yeah.
For as long as everything is good and you're paying, you're all happy. But and you start to see the letters coming in.
Yeah.
And so, sis, you've talked about these essential expenditures, the food, the rent, the mortgage, the council tax, the utilities, all of that. Is it important to try to save, even if it's £10 a month? Is it important to save? Because that is something, a concept that I think a lot of people need to get, including me.
It is important to save, but it's important to save, but you have to, before I actually say that, one of the things I wanted to say was, it just came to my head here. If you are somebody who obviously believes in the credit cards and you want to do the credit cards now, when you are doing your budgets, put the credit cards now, the interest rates are high first, and then it comes like a sort of a first, and then the lower it comes. And the point of doing that is that you clear the ones that the interest rates are high first. Doesn't mean say you should ignore the other ones, but you focus on the higher rated ones first to clear them off, because those are the ones that aid you sika kesiye. And if you clear those ones first, then you ebesana ento me wundru asiyo kakra ne neche se nya wu esese utria no na eno so akofom kakra ama usika we na akofom. Now when it comes to the saving, yes, we're meant to save, but you have to ask yourself, what are you actually saving for? Because if you are saving, say, okay, I'm saving for today to have money in 10 years' time, the value of money changes, it devalues. So the money, ukita 500 and nya ubetimi dia to ene no, in 3 years' time, kra untimi mfasa 500 nanto. You know, we in the accounting world, we have something called a discount fund, and we discount money back, because if somebody buys something and they say, okay, I'll pay it in maybe at 10 years or 5 years time now, we have to understand how much that money will be worth at that time and how much the money is worth now. So at the moment, depending on where you are, And depending on what you're actually saving in, it is a question that a lot of people, it will differ. The answers will differ, because if you're going to put your money in the bank, you wouldn't get much interest on it. If you're going to put your money in your house, it is risky, because if you get robbed, you might not be covered for it. So most of the people who are prepared to take risk would normally put their money into some high investment, risky, with the intention to make something on it. Now, when you invest your money, and pension is an investment. The people who do the pension for you, they go and invest the money. So if you realize, they will come, sometimes they come back to you. I mean, if you read the small print, they will actually tell you, say, look, they are going to use your money to do A, B, C, D, E. There is no guarantee you will get E, F, G, H from it. So it is also a risky thing. But the point is that most people who take big risk tend to get big rewards. It is risky, but the rewards are bigger if it pays off. And when it comes to saving, yes, you can save for a rainy day or whatever it is. But then, do you want to save and put your money down? First of all, let me put it this way: if you are owing on credit cards, there's no point of you saving, because you are better off clearing off the bill that you are paying than saving, because it doesn't make sense. You are paying something that is about 20 or 15%, and you are saving that is giving you about not percent or 0.1%. So you are better off using the money that you are going to save to clear off the bill. Then you don't have anything to pay in terms of the credit card. Then you save. So it
Okay.
depends on what you want to do. But it is good to save for a rainy day, even though the interest is low.
Okay, so sis, let's backtrack a bit. You
Mm.
know, and make a saving as no. The people that I'm talking about, or the people that I mean, is somebody like me. I gave myself as an example that I make £2,000, 2,000 Ghana cedis, 2,000 euros, 2,000, whatever your currency is, 2,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So by the time I've paid my rent, I've paid my council tax, I've paid all those essential
Yeah.
expenses that I have to make, food, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Sis, out of my 2,000, I have 500 left. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't this, and this is not, you see, when we say essential spending, I'm not talking about go and buy the latest shoe, go and buy the latest dress,
Mm-hmm.
makeup, hairdo. No, I'm talking about essential expenses. So I've
Yeah.
made all of those. I still have 500 left over,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Now, you talked about how saving, you don't make much interest, and some people who make high interest, high risk ventures make money, investments make money.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're like me, you've just started out,
Mm-hmm.
you've lost everything, you're starting out life, you make 2,000, after you've done all those expenses, you have 500 left.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be bad for me to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice and put 250 of that remaining 500 down every single month for the next 12 months to 24 months,
Mm-hmm.
so that I have a bulk money to
Mm-hmm.
then take a step and decide how to invest that money? Is it wrong to do that?
Absolutely not wrong. It's absolutely wrong. In fact, I would say you should do that, depending on how much you have left. So if you have 200, and if you have 500 left, and you can divide it, and you know that 250 will be enough for your disposable expenses for the month, and you can save 500, you can save the other 250. I would say do that. Even if you save the 250, and at the end of the month, the 250 that you decided to save, you've only spent 200 and there's a £50 left, I would say add it to the saving. Because look at it this way: even though the value of money would go down, in 12 months' time, you still have some money there, which is bulk, which is good, rather than you spending the money. But what I would say is that you do that, but there is no point in saving when you have a big bill to pay. If somebody has a big bill to pay, you are better off using the bill to clear that bill off. Then you save the big money. But it is important that you save, because if you save the 250, and at the end of the year, you're driving and maybe there's something on your car you need to fix, you have the money there that you can use. So that is what you call. So it is good to save, even though the interest rates are low.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you talked about big expenses, and I want to go back to that point because
Okay.
this is where a lot of people fall down. You have 2,000 Ghana cedis, 2,000 pounds, euros, whatever currency. You spend 1,500 on all those essential utilities, including food and everything.
Yeah.
The rest of it is just, miscellaneous things that you don't have to have. You don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
You see, in life, and I'm sure you know this, is that there are wants and there are needs.
Yeah.
So buying dress, makeup, shoe, that is a want, it's not a need. Need is where will I live? What would I eat?
Yeah.
Survival things and needs.
Yeah.
Now, so I have my 500 left, but I have 2,000 on my credit card. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a savings account, but I have 2,000, a bill of 2,000 pounds, dollars, whatever, on my credit card. And after I've spent my monthly salary, I have 500
Yeah.
left. What
Mm-hmm.
should I do? Menya then.
For me personally, because obviously you don't, as I said in the beginning, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I would leave some for myself, but I would say, okay, how much do you think of that credit card if you pay off a bit will make it? First of all, if I have a 2,000 credit card, I will actually make a plan. When do I want to finish paying off that credit card? Okay, in a year's time, what is the interest rate? Because the interest makes a whole lot of difference. If you have a credit card which the interest rate is 5% and you have a credit card which the interest rate is 20%, it's a big difference. So if your interest rate is 5%, you're paying little interest. So you calculate it and see how, or even check your bank and see how much they charge you. Maybe 5% be a charge you be a £6 or so, whatever it is. £86, you think to yourself, that 2,000 credit card, how soon did I want to finish paying it? Within a year's time. Divide it by 12. If you divide it by 12, how much do you get? So we're looking at how much? If we're looking at 2,000, isn't it?
Yes.
Divided by 12. So you have 166.6. So let's say about £170. And then you ask yourself, from my salary, after I've finished paying all my essential bills, can I afford 166? That means in 12 months' time, first of all, you need to cut up the credit card. So if you don't want to use, that is if you don't want to use it again, you cut it up. Because once you cut it up, and that is the own said, so we kita credit card, no tree sikan, which ya say 2,000, which 3,000. Now there could be unam crum. See what we ye my breast iradi. In Pebway for 20 pounds. Now dear me ye my mintimit top of. What do you end up doing?
You buy it again.
With what?
The credit card. Mm.
If it's cut up, you wouldn't use it. And this is if you want to really discipline yourself. You cut it up. Kamia you no credit card just for because of credit purposes in it is more than enough. You don't need too many credit cards. What me share will be when you're one credit, yes, sir, just because they know how to manage their money. And that is how the credit system works. If you know how to manage your money, you don't need to earn too much. You would have such an excellent credit. And then why would you scab a brain? Wouldn't him say you trace castle? Who credit into so be here ni be what be says no way cross then with me afford they can because they know how to manage their friends saying their credit. Until you ask yourself 170, can I afford it every month? If you can afford it every month, you're more than capable of doing it. But then it means that you have to prolong the number of months you're going to use to clear the 2,000. Instead of 12 months, let me change it to a friend is saying 24. And I said 20. You give yourself £100. Can I afford £100? If you can afford £100, then you pay £100. And see, out of your 500, you're paying £100 every month, or out of you're paying because one was a credit card and every month you 1 year you better interest and then we the funny thing about interest is especially if you're in the accounting world now, you pay £50. We pay 50 pounds now with you and my best 15 penny towards the actual credit card now they can 35 interest. The best account. It is a show statement so yet yes I be account. yet near the side of your account. You bet 50, will see, oh, I didn't 250 cover. The next time over 235. Yeah, the interest now sound yeah, the interest now sound. And that is how they calculate their interest. It is up to you to decide, say, after you've paid the 50, which is maybe the charges that they sent to you so you to pay, can you pay an extra £100? So when you pay that, then the next interest that they will calculate should go down. Into with time, it's the same way they used to calculate loans and mortgages and everything.
So, sis, I don't want to name names of any banks or anything, but I know that there are different credit cards.
Yeah.
Some people have so bad credit ratings, say they can't get credit cards from the usual banks like Barclays, Lloyds, whatever.
Yeah.
And so the only people that would give them credit cards are what I'll call loan sharks, like to say be a Capital One, okay. And they come with high interest, 25%. 25% interest rating. Well, credit card. So, and for somebody like that, if you owe £2,000 on 25% interest rates, and you have 500 disposable income after you've paid all your necessities, what advice would you give to such a person? Say, yeah, okay, do it this way, try to clear it, because I've heard a lot of what you're saying about paying your interest, the high credit card with the highest interest first. So what would you do?
As I said, I would make a plan. The 2,000, how soon do I want to pay it off? If I divide it by 12 and I can afford 160, 70 pounds off the 500 and it won't affect me, I will pay it. And for me personally, what I would advise is that if that is what you decide to do, immediately you get paid and you pay, or your direct debit goes through for all the important bills, pay it. Because once you've paid it, you can't go back. You leave it for tomorrow, you come back tomorrow, something will happen. And that is the uncertainty. If you have paid for something, if you don't have money to spend, you can't spend it. It is over 170 me see o me dey kwa kotwa me credit card na credit card ne bill na akofom watwen. Adichie unko krom come deal kwa do McDonald's, you are like, oh, it's only £2. That's £2 you are taking off your 170. And they are charging you interest on the £2. They charge you interest on every pound. In order for you to restrict yourself, and that is why it is important to put everything on pen and paper, or put it somewhere where you can see it. Because once you can see it and you said, okay, this is what me before I've already gone inside and tidied up my budgeting and know, say, okay, this month, these are the one-off payments I'm going to make, or whatever it is. This is where I can need to do this. Okay, in Kolanisi or here say, wait a minute, say the mayor. Inti sikaninya tohwa, I clear it. Inti sikanukwa, there's nothing I can do. You have to be strict about it if you want to clear it. And we realize that these things, they're so easy for them to give it to us. They give you the credit easier than you can even blink.
So they know where they're going to get you.
They know how they will get you. They know how they will get you. And because the interest rates are high, that is why they sell it to you as quickly as, because they know, say, it's difficult. And they know the habits. Until they would quickly sell it to you, say, okay, Ginny say. And one of the things, when you listen to the Martin Lewis, he normally says, which it's also a good thing. He says sometimes for some people to get people to get credit cards, you can get a credit card which wouldn't charge you anything for about a year. So the idea is you take that credit card, pay one of the bill off, and you try as much as possible to pay the other one that you've gone for. But his advice is, if you get a credit card to pay off a bill, so that I think it's a bank transfer, they call it, or something. If you get a credit card to pay off a bill, once you've paid off the bill, the credit card that you went for, which was interest-free, cut it up. Because if you cut it up, then you can't use it. And you would be disciplined to pay the bill.
Sis, this is transformational. And as I keep saying, I wish that this advice was given 10, 15 years ago. A lot of things would be so different. Sis, as I'm walking, obi wa ha otie yan beka se na me school yi kra me nko bi me pen ni paper kra etro kra ya me din dia no ma be gina ha no tie nipa so se ye ntro bibia nto so. How detailed should you be with your domestic budgeting? Inti me sani me kan no me nya 2000 tietia me ho aka me dan ka me diane nsuo kanea gas bibia ria eniam ehu hia se me ya ansa na matena se no na isa aka $500 £500 me ka say nso me de ka 2000 on my credit card so eni ade question na me pese me bisa ne se edie ben niema chese nti ukotọ pioto £2 a wotro.
Okay, let me put it this way. Yeah, you want mobile phone. For the auto store data, say auto pay up data UK jama 79p. Mimi there because sister sika na him friend free. Enye me enye friend saying me 2000 na me je enye hwa na free.
Ehwa na free.
So far as the money is not going to change in the bank is not going to say, oh, Yaba, 79p, yeah, team free account, we are the best show. It is on my budget. It is on my budget. It is on my budget and it is being deducted from my money that is coming in. As I said, if you go to a shop, then you can also make amendments and I say, provision for say, okay, we see KB you wouldn't account for it. But me personally, as I said, me to iCloud 79p. It was also £2. Me to me dear, ma to me ma me no dear. It was also £2. That is how detailed I go into it. Because for me, if I put it there and the disposable income that I have, the left me bills and say if the whatever kind of 500, me the 79p to honest 500, they buy 500 I don't mind. But say me the 79p to honest 500, never quack 400 and point nature say it is coming off the money that I have. Until I will put it there. Unless it's there. Ebia meka say ebia wo si okay 100 we dey me dey share me hu me dey we dey sika me dey share me hu me chese me nam krom na se me pese me to bibia but then no chese you have actually taken that 100 off into it's actually coming off into then you to say disposable income down to say wo pia £5 be down nya wo pese odi to bia odi beto but still the £5 is coming off. I don't need to put the details of the £5 but the £5 has already come off the money and that is how detailed I do mine.
Nti yemfa ne se 500 no utro bibia auto piota utro to pampers utro to papaya utro bibia obeto bia no utro ni nyina to ho wa decide ahe a wo pesa wo you spend busumi bia na se wo benwie no na aka 200 a de chire watuatua credit watua bibia wie 200 na aka no wo de asie na afiaso 200 times 12 wenya £2,400 saved money. I wo ho. Enti sis obi a obetimi di sika asie na watimi akra aboabo anu ama na ye ebum no. E de be niema sa na obeka se nipa no wonfa na adwen kokon ho nka se wonyo. We're not here to recommend what people should do. But we're here to suggest things that people need to do their own due diligence and go and look at before they commit to anything. I don't want to hear anything about Yaba si ekuya porn stars you obi mfa ni sika nkoto baby ya mesremu eye nchirechiremu na me ma se dear suggestions na obe mama boabo sika no enya 2400. What sorts of things should I begin to look at? Because sika no finite. Ye kasi etena ho na me di Tesco by day now for 20 years. Na se me fanyansa ntumi sika die no eni se nia me kura me sika no ho a me gina fa akwa de akowu. Enti sa 2000 na metimi aboaboa no menye ndeng.
Well, ni nyina gina wo so obi wo ho a onim nia wodi onim nia how do I put it? Onim a person ni sika da baby a person da baby. Obi so ho a they risk taker. Enti ebi o person di ni sika ni she bibim. But dia wodi wo sika be she mu biara no. Make sure that you know what you're doing. 2000 let's say 2400 let's say person do 2400 ni nyina akoshema. Well, it depends on you and how much of the risk you want to take. Mimi Yaba de bia me nyesa. Bia me chemu no. Me de face na me de fa akwa akoshe baby. Na ma hwese okay, fain de metimi agya mo na group baby ma hwese bibi beba so ana. And You can't stand Brony Becca who invest in Sika win and win Sika before. Look, it could be anything and Yama be brave who bet me do Sika shame. But whatever it is that we do Sika shame, as you say, adequate. You need to know where you're putting your money. You need to know what you're putting your money into. Because if you don't know, say you do Sika and you are responsible for your money. You know, Sana Mekan.
Okay, and he says, I know that we are money manager. Me cry me behind or contract na wa manage me sika ma me, but asɛm a me pese me kan e de yes listen, but asɛm a me pese me bisa on say me ne wa grow kakra na me my your history so kakra ma study kakra. I know say you've diversified. You're not just an accountant. I know you have other business interests too. Juice Plus being one of them. Sis na ɛno nti no na kyerɛ sɛ woyɛ adwumayɛni a multiple streams of income is important, isn't it? I mean, as a money manager, what would you say to somebody who wants to diversify and invest in other things aside their daily hustle?
Ɛno deɛ sɛ wo ne broni bi akɔ kasa a wɔn a wɔn pɛ broni aborɔfofo a wɔn pɛ sika a wɔn nim sikadie mu no wɔn nim sɛ wɔde sika to hɔ a sika no ɛnyɛ adeɛ kyɛ sɛ biribi koraa bɛba abɛtɔ so a ɛnyɛ biribi bebree na ɛba abɛtɔ so ɛnampa mede me ho agye friend sɛ Juice Plus no, and because we see a concept of the Juice Plus no, I felt to say, you know what, this is biribi a metumi anya sika kakra wɔ kyɛ sɛ mede ka kakra na menya no ɛbɛboa me nti ɛno nti I've gone for it. But before I make on, me make sure say adeɛ no meti aseɛ ɛyɛ biribi a metumi ayɛ ɛna mede me ho gye.
Okay, but the point that I'm trying to make is that multiple streams of income is important because when to mean for winning two source of income back so.
Sɛ wotie wokɔ YouTube ne adeɛ na sɛ wotie sikafoɔ a wɔwɔ hɔ a wɔwo bi sɛ ɔmo sɛ deɛ na ɔmo yɛ a, that is what they do. That is one of the things they do. They learn and then they invest. Then they learn and then they invest. Nti ɛnyɛ sɛ bi a YouTube nko a they are bebree wɔ hɔ ebinom wɔ hɔ a wɔn ayɛ bi, but as I said no, sɛ wonim nea wode wo sika hyɛ mu a you know what you're going. You say yɛn no ɛyɛ ana biribi ani a na yɛdi nika gururu na yɛdi sika gu mu yɛnim adekode a ɛyɛ. Learn, know what it is. Now do sika hyɛ. Nti wode wo sika hyɛ mu koraa na sɛ wopɛ sɛ wokyerɛ obi sɛ oh mepatwɔ weyɛ ɛm sɛ woyɛ bi a wonim sɛnea a wobɛka kyerɛ ne akɔn wobɛka sɛ oh okay wei mayɛ bi and meyɛyɛ no ɛyɛ nti na ɛbɛboa me na wo ne akɔn no so ayɛ bi. But multiple streams of income na ɛyɛ because sɛ woyɛ nkakra and one will say like everything else no, say if you're doing it you have to have the time to do it. Wonni adagye a ɛyɛ wo sika na wo invest wonnya hwee wɔ so. Nti yɛsɛ sɛ wonya sɛ wankasa wohwɛ sɛ okay mede me sika ahyɛ mu sɛnea wo brɛ yɛ a ɛteki wo gyama bɛyɛ 12 months a wode nya sika no sɛ wopɛ sɛ woyɛ biribi a ɛsɛ sɛ wonya w'adagyeɛ nso na wode hyɛ ade koro a wopɛ sɛ woyɛ no mu na wote aseɛ sɛnea bi a future ɛso aba ɛbɛso.
I mean, in life, it's just down to choices. You don't no pain, no gain, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of us who spend a lot of time on social media doing bugger all. We were on social media and where you di konkonsa, you obi drama, and all that time, that is a lot of time. By the time you've added it up, even if you spend 2 hours a day on social media, mind you, there's only 24 hours. You sleep, let's say 6 to 8 hours. I can't head down north. So if you're able to carve out 2 to 3 hours of your precious time every single day to be on social media, and I say it is not for something that is beneficial. Because
time is money. It is money that if you waste, you can't get it back as well. Every time I would baby, I would be someone say, where me, then I mean, free man, you're not getting anything from it. It is not worth you doing it. You're just wasting your time. If you might not get the physical monetary value of something you're doing, but if it's even class additional coach, you're going to use it for something. That is good. So whatever it is you're doing, no, there, look, even if you are relaxing, it might not be you making money, but it is important you relax. But sɛ wobɛyɛ biribi pa a wobɛrealise sɛ ɛmfa biribi papa bia nyansadeɛ bia mfa nka wo life ne wo relaxation ho no, it is not necessary for you to do it. Trust me, because people are out there making money. They are out there seriously making. You'll be surprised the amount of money people are making even during the COVID. Even during the COVID, you have to have the right people. You have to have the right, and that is what one of the things I've learned with this social media. I've never been somebody who is out there. But I've realized it is good to network, because that is when you see opportunities that are out there and people are able to help you do certain things, take you out of your comfort zone, to challenge you to do certain things that you think, say, no, this one, I would have never done it in my life. And then you try it. And don't get me wrong, you might try it and the first profit or whatever it is you get might be just something minimal. But you tried and you got something from it. And you keep trying, And most of these companies we see, or most of these small businesses we see that they've opened, trust me, some of them operate for about 5 years before they could even break even or make any money. But it is the consistency and the hard work that they put into it that makes the money. And then we were having a juice class Zoom training. And one of the things I said to them was that, look, you do this juice class and you recruit people. And one of the things we don't realize that it's leadership skills you're learning. If you're going to look for a job, that is your leadership skills you can put on your CV. And you can sell yourself with it. So, and some of these things, me, I used to be that sort of person. You would never see me anywhere. I would never do anything. But this time, I'm open, because I don't say, you being the way you are, trust me, I'm out for a years ago. They haven't got time for you. Until you just try and then you see what you can do. And your friend is saying, now what try? No, why you be? If you can't, you ask. There are people out there who can help you. But it is a good thing if you network, because you get to know people. Everybody has a specialty, something they're good at. And to use that to your advantage to make money out of it.
And this is Yaba. We're gonna go, but before we do that, I just want you to summarize what you said so far in English. I would in Chi, and then get people to really get what we're saying. Here me pass for money management to say me because I know that the average Ghanaian living in the UK, living in wherever they live, doesn't use any of what we've talked about. Wesi so and now we're penny mumpo. This is like a dishwasher or a microwave or a washing machine. It's just round and round and round. Now fiaso, now besin, now fiaso. Before you know it, 20 years have besin. What do you have to show for all that ponkosina uchi? This is not about we are professional and answer when you're professional. There's nothing to do with that. Whatever your finite income is, know it. Let do lemu. This is what we're saying, isn't it? Do lemu. If you earn £1,000 a month and you're spending 2,000 a month, there's something fundamentally wrong.
Yeah.
If you're earning £1,000 and you're spending £1,200 a month, there is something fundamental. Now, say, when I will borrow 200, it is either you find another stream of income to cover that extra 200 or £1,000, or you cut back.
Yeah.
I mean, imsa Ghana for bebre no. Ye nneɛma na ɛho hia na ye ne nyinaa wi a ye free sɛ ye ne nkɔfo bi wɔ competition mu. Keka ne yɛn ma no, we women especially. Oh, we're in this club and every month we go for a funeral and everybody's wearing this so and so thing, and so I have to also show that I've arrived. All this arrival doesn't matter if at the end of the day where you and she says, I just want you to summarize what you said so that people get it. Those who went here from the beginning get what we're saying before we go.
Yes, and so in a nutshell, all I'm saying is that if you earn £1,000, you can't go and spend 1,001 because that one that you're spending, where are you getting it from? As simple as that. You need to be, I mean, as I said, no, some people might not be familiar with using Excel spreadsheets, but look, there are apps today, they do everything and you can customize it into because everybody's spending is different. Me work hard in TBM Cheruta, so go on Jack on Onika, Shofa Bus. If you download it, download the apps, all you need to type is budgeting. It will give you different apps. You can choose the one that you think suits you, free, put in whatever it is. And one kasa, you would see it as you do it. You can start from the month before. See everything that you spent. And at the end of it, see how much you've got. And then the rest that you have, and ask yourself this question: what do I want to do with it? Do I just want to leave it in the bank for it to just sit there and make just about like 0.1%? Or I want to take a risk and see if I can do something else with it. Try and see, go out of your comfort zone a bit. Sometimes it helps to try to see, say, you can do that. And another important thing is that sometimes we do all these things. We also have to realize that we do it and we would also teach our kids. So our kids would also know how to do some of these things because on graduate they have these defense resources available to them for them to go on. And it is not bad to teach your child because look, man is 9 to 5. Some kids are or can do their own, be their own self-employed person. And not for nothing. Today, these kids, they are so independent. They are more than capable of doing things on their own. So ultimately, whichever profession they want to decide to go into, they can decide they want to go on their own. Just because my child decides she wants to be an accountant doesn't mean she has to work for another firm. She can go and open her own accounting firm. And we are in a country whereby all these resources are there to give to our kids for them to be self-employed. We are telling ourselves to say, look, we've gotten to this age, we need multiple streams of income. Why don't we impart that knowledge into our kids? Because let's face it, if we are saying, say, we want to be financially free and we want to be have multiple streams of income, if they have a profession and they can go independently, they are better off being themselves, the same independent person that we want to be. And we also have to educate them for them to have that knowledge and ask us the questions that maybe we haven't asked and start referencing at that young age for them to learn.
So, sis, when somebody starts using this budgeting tool that we've talked about, whichever one you choose to use, the free ones out there, go Google, go to your Play Store and download it and do whatever you want to do. But if you've done all of that, and that's it, for this month, last month of October, when I put all my expenses in with all the income I made, like I was in a deficit. I overspent. I spent $200 or £200 that I didn't have. How do I backtrack? How do I put myself, because that's the whole thing. Obi beye ebi ano obe no we so was spending $500 and only. Then they think they're the worst demon that ever lived. How do you begin to make changes that are relevant to get you out of that rut that you're in?
So if you have spent money that say you did your income and expenses and you realize that at the end of it I have 500 and I've gone to spend 700. Next month you have to spend less than what you have. Whichever way, you have to spend less so that you come at the borderline of where you know that you are spending what you have. You are spending within your means. Sika uwo and awode to adie. It's as simple as that.
Eti na chese wo start na wo bisa wo ho na wo tro to ho because ye mu bebre ye ntro to ho.
Oh, me tron to ho krano. I only started 5 years ago. I don't even know what even happened. I mean, look, I've been through a situation whereby I was telling you, we are school, and that is another thing, and that is why somebody like Martin Lewis is pushing this thing for it to go into schools, because when you go to university, the way they give you credit cards, and the credit card is interest free. They can give you a credit card, you have a credit card. And the thing is, so far as you are paying for the money, anytime you go, you're a student, they have this criteria, and by the time you finish school, you have a credit card of about £5,000. You have spent 498 on it. You only have about £20 or whatever it is on it. And now you need to start working. And they might give you about a year or two to clear the whole bill. Once you don't clear that bill, they are hitting you with the highest interest rate you have. So now in the UK, in the past, if you had a debit card and you had an overdraft, your overdraft, the interest rate on your overdraft was like next to nothing. Now, for whatever reason, it is better to have a credit card now than to have a debit card overdraft, because they have increased the interest rate to 39.99 or something. All the banks, and then they all work together. Once one does it and gets away with it, they're all thinking, hang on a minute, why should they do it and get away with it? We're all doing it. See, they've all followed through to do that. And see, that is why I said, if you have numerous of credit cards or numerous of cards or bills or anything that's they charge interest, when you are making your for you to get back to where you think, hang on a minute, I'm in a comfortable situation, put the ones that the interest rates are higher first and clear the balance from them. That is what most people do. And then another thing, for I don't know, for those in Canada, those in the UK, some of the other things they ask us to do is, if you have electricity or gas, change your supplier. Broadband, change, because people are saving money on that. Some people are saving 500, some people are saving 200. And you might think, oh, 200 is just too small. But I always keep asking you, if you go into a shop and they wouldn't let you buy anything that is when you go into a corner shop and you buy something in a penny shop, it is because they're only giving it to you because they've already made their money about 10 times before. That's why they're giving it to you. Go is nothing. But if you go into a big grocery shop like Sainsbury's or whatever it is, and you want to buy something and you tell the cashier that, look, I'm 5p short, I'm 1p short, and she goes, oh, there's nothing I can do about it. It's a sign for you that you also need to have some checks on your money, because the big companies do it. If they have a budget they need to spend and somebody spends over their budget, they need to justify why they've spent over their budget. They cut, and that is why sometimes they get rid of people, because they realize that, hang on a minute, I have to pay this person, I have to produce this item. Which one can I get rid of? Get rid of the person.
Ebusiafo, mɛbɔ ne tɔfa, mɛ summarize it. Nea yɛ nua baa Yaba wɔka tiawa nyinaa ne sɛ wotwi pɔnkɔ se, sɛ ɔyɛ aban adwuma, sɛ wɔawɔ wo business, sika no kwan bi ɛfa so ba biara no, aban atete ne to afiri mu biara awie no, sika na ɛyɛ wo de a yɛtua kɔ w'account mu no, ɛno nko ara ne sika ɛyɛ wo de a. Sɛ wowɔ kuraba bi na wo sika kɔgu mu a, fa ne sɛ w'account ne yɛ kuraba, ɛna sika no nyinaa kɔkɔgu hɔ. Woyɛ sugyani a na kyerɛ sɛ ɛyɛ wo nko ara no, ne nyinaa no. Wowɔ wo ho kani a, ɔno nso de ne deɛ kakra waba a, na kyerɛ sɛ ɛno ano no, na ɛno koraa no, next week yɛbɛka ɛno nso ho asɛm, because awarefoɔ bebree wɔ hɔ a ɔmo nka ɔmo sika mmom. Bɛrima ne nya 2,000 a.
One thing I realize is say, the more wunya sika no, na the more wo expenditure na ɛyɛ kɛseɛ. Enti yɛmfa nsɛ megye 500 a month. Eja wirem ni mekɔ a Asda Smart nye shop ne brand ni di na no bi na metɔ. Yogurt na mekɔ akɛtɔ ni 20p na makɔ Zaratu na matɔ. Afi deɛ afi no so yɛ mekɔ a the next afi no. Afi deɛ megye 1,000. Say deɛ mekɔ a mentɔ Asda Smart ni bio. Say me say M&S Mass and Spencer's yogurt na medi. Edu 1,500 I mesi dabi. Where the waitress na onti osikafoɔ no. Somebody would ask, say, it is because if first they would buy a second-hand car, now they can afford a brand new car. So they too, their expenses are gone high. First, their child goes to state school. Now they can afford to take their child to a private school. So now their expenses are that is how it works. One person or maybe an pen or the normal pen. On what pen, just a packer, way. And that is how it is. Ebia will be on the mobile phone. Okwa Nokia bi na wakwa akofa. Sikeni so the iPhone, latest iPhone. E bakra na eni so renew. For them, that is their necessity. They want to buy it. If it gets to a point whereby they can't afford it, trust me, they cut. They cut. One way you celebrities, there are certain things they can afford, certain things they can't afford. Those who can afford, they spend the money. Those who can't afford, they don't spend that money. They don't spend it. They don't spend.
Oh, Yaba Ira Kakra. I don't know whether you guys can hear me, but she's gone. There's something with the Wi-Fi, I think. I hope you guys can still hear me. Give me a wave if you can. Yaba me say so now sign back because you're frozen. I can't. There's no movement, no sound. Nti nea na meka ne sɛ me nuabaa no asɛm a wɔrebɔ ne tɔfa nyinaa ne sɛ ɛsɛ sɛ yɛhu sɛnea yɛbɛsi a yɛbɛkura yɛ sika no afa. Wo sika no wɔ kuraba mu, right? You have your single pot of money that you're spending from. At the end of the day, no sika owa no. Ɛno nti no, if you take pen and paper na sɛ wotrɔtrɔ ne sika no ɛyɛ ebi a wogye 2,000 na wogye no, with the 500 tia rent, with the 200 tia wo bills, nsuo, kanea, house insurance, efiri he kɔba he nyinaa, wotua ne nyinaa ewie a 2,000 ni mu no, don't worry, 2,000 ni mu no ɛka 500 pɛ. 500 pɛ na aka no, ebi a wode ka wɔ credit card so wobɛtumi de 250 atua na atete so na wama wo ho mmerɛ a wode bɛtua saa sika no nso ama na free hɔ. 250 na aka no wode bɛsie sɛnea ɛbɛyɛ afe no nso no na nso wɔ nkakrawa bi wɔ hɔ a wobɛtumi aka sɛ me sika a ɛyɛ titiriw dwetire titiriw a ɛwɔ hɔ na enie na afei no wadwen ho apɛnsɛmpɛnsɛmu sɛ ɛdeɛ na metumi de sika yi ayɛ a ɛbɛtumi asan ɛde bi aba abɛka me ho. Yɛbɛka saving ne investment ne nneɛma ahodoɔ nso yɛbɛpɛnsɛmpɛnsɛ no mu another time, but ɛnnɛ no adeɛ titiriw a mepɛ sɛ me ne me nua bɛyɛ pɛ sɛ mote aseɛ ɛsɛ Ghanafoɔ nyinaa ne sɛ sika no sɛ ɛyɛ 2,000, 1,000, 500 o ɛna bosome biara no nipa a ɔyɛ n'adwuma otua gu account mu a ɛsɛ sɛ wote wo ho ase sɛ sika a wɔwɔ no a ne nyinaa no bisa wo ho sɛ deɛ nneɛma na hia a manya a mɛda abɔnten wo dan ka woyɛ dan wobɛtua nte sɛ wabɛdwae wɔ abɔnten wo mma ɛsɛ sɛ wɔn nya ataadeɛ hyɛ ɛtumi kɔ school ɔmo aduane exercise book pencil saa nneɛma no nyinaa ɛsɛ sɛ wɔtotɔ ma wɔn mu but obi anka sɛ ɛsɛ wohyɛ Gucci obi anka sɛ ɛsɛ wohyɛ asomadeɛ latest aba saa nneɛma no ɛyɛ wiase afɛfɛdeɛ bisa wo ho sɛ wototɔ saa ahonie nyinaa wie na sɛ sika bi ani hɔ a yɛfrɛ wo sɛ akua wo maame yare wɔ Ghana fa 100 pound bra na wonni bia afɛfɛdeɛ no nyinaa yɛ nkwasiasɛm nti ɛsɛ sɛ wotumi nya biribi na wode sie ɛsɛ emergency bi ba wo ankasa a woyɛ adwuma no koraa wo yare a wobɛnya bi de atɔ aduro na ade ayɛ wo ho wode ahwɛ wo ho na afei no watumi de bi asie no afe na so no wodi w'ani atoto fam ahwɛ sɛ ɛdeɛ bɛ investment deɛ bɛ nneɛma na metumi de me sika bi ahyehyɛ mu a ɛde bi bɛba abɛka me ho na wato bo ase apɛnsɛmpɛnsɛn mu ansa na watu anamɔ enti adeɛ titiriw ɛnnɛ me ne me nua ba panyin yɛpɛ sɛ mote aseɛ Ghanafoɔ a ne sɛ wo sika no wonya a biribia a wode sika no bi tɔ bi a twerɛ to hɔ bosome no bɛkɔ na wieɛ no keka ne nyinaa bom na bisa ho sɛ ɔha na yɛde ma me no apem baako na yɛde ma me mpem mmienu na menya no emu dodoɔ sɛn ɛna mede tɔ adeɛ emu sɛn na kaeɛ deɛ hi na mede tuatua me ho aka bi ɛwɔ baabi na deɛ hi na ɛbɛka a metumi anya bi de asie na hunu nso sɛ yɛfrɛ ne sɛn ewiase ahoneɛ ne saa nneɔma na ɛyɛ a yɛ Ghanafoɔ mmaa titiri yɛde sika tɔ no yɛ ana dodoɔ naa no ɛho hɛda nhia saa wone obiara ne race mu at the end of the day ne sika deɛ kura wo sɛ yi a biribi a pɛ sɛ wotɔ bia wobɛtumi de atɔ wone bi nso o Brazilian hair wig na mu bɔ nkankan mu nkaka wode kɔ shop kura obi antɔ enti me nua yɛmma yɛnimmerɛ ne yɛnstartem ntu anamɔ meka saa asɛm wei because nipa bebree na nenam London abɔnten so wobisa ne 100 pounds kura wonya bi ma wo bisa ne 50 pounds savings wani bi enso wasiesie ne ho hyerɛ pɛɛ de nam hɔ anamɔ bɛn na wotu de ama wo daakye wo mmere wabom nkɔkora bom wo ma daakye adɔdɔdeɛ bɛn na wode sie ama w'abusua daakye. Enti me nua, wowɔ last word bi ama yɛne mpɔn.
Last one I make can say, wait, it's not enyaga nipa bakun so na eye. It is not only for one person. Because you realize say if you're married and you do it with your husband or your wife, you will realize, okay, the two of you are looking at your expenditure and looking at your income. Into whatever that is left that the two of you can work with, you can work with it. It is like you're trying to find where we can save, where we can invest, where we can do this, where we can multiply our money, where we can use some of this money. So it is actually quite important, because you then would realize, say, okay, so every week, me for me, nyama kitty kitty biti said, even if I spend too much on petrol, for me it's too much, because I have a budget. Say every week, and I have to spend £20, £30 on petrol. And he said me spending me £20, limited, and I said me £30 on petrol. Next, he said me Toby Kanwa. I'm like thinking, say, hang on a minute, what have I actually done? And that is where, if you have a little bit of loose cash or loose money after Uber you had to go do one again. We school runs. Now woman back catch you say, oh, okay, yeah, parents' evening. It means you need to drive back to the school again. Traffic. It is the little things that we don't appreciate in life, which, to be honest, they are quite monetary. We need to actually value them. And if you do it with your other half, the two of you don't have to do it. And you know something? The Abrafofonomuye, they do it. They actually do it, because me, Sadia and Michian said, we credit cards not interest with. Michian was yet a television program. You rank them now. I want a Michian free. Ain't they do it? Church or two. You don't necessarily have to say they be better, but at least if one of the two of you does it, then your friend is saying you at least somebody is in charge of what is going in and out. In Sika, that is what I want to say. And may that's a power for giving me the opportunity. And anytime you want me to come,
this is just one in many series.
Yeah.
They say, a permanent feature. There's a lot that we have to learn about money.
Yeah,
a lot that we have to learn. I mean, next time I want your opinion about, like things that we do when we leave Ghana and we move abroad. Don't say Ghana, you sit down to do. We don't really do mortgage business, and a lot of people don't really understand what mortgage actually means. Until next week, when we're talking, that is the topic that I want us to talk about, because it's a good thing to own your house. Of course, it's a good thing. But if you're not ready for it, if you haven't planned sufficiently for it, when it was it's a good investment. It's relatively risk-free business, but you have to understand, like anything, you have to understand what you're doing. And until next time, I would really want us to talk about that. And I want to thank you so much for being here. It's not everybody that does that. And they're keeping it to themselves. They're not trying to help our community move forward. We have all this wealth of knowledge. What are we doing with it? Doesn't get anybody anywhere. Caring is sharing, and we're all sharing. We're all, giving up our life experiences and using it to advise and encourage, support, and help us all to change. And no matter how far you think you've gone, there is always an opportunity.
There is always something to learn. There is always something to learn. Always something to learn. And one of the things we also need to do, especially in this present climate and everything, we need to be a bit open-minded. Will be banners or the business idea be but to any man. Hear them out. Hear them out, because they might have tried it and it might be working for them. Whatever it is, there is one thing I learned. Hear them out. Because on the banner saying, if you listen to the person, the next time you go somewhere, If somebody is saying the same thing, then you hear it. The next time the other person might use a different language. But now you'll be a catch that just hear them out. Because trust me, investment is good. Investment is good. And those who are investing, they are making money.
Ninia, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being in this space. I don't know, this year I've just come across all you amazing people. You know, Amma Manson, you, Hannah, Scholastica, Ajo. You guys are amazing. Missy, Awo Mekua. I mean, the list just goes, it's endless. Becoming Pastor P. Just say, Munina, Modone Yasrunun. And I'm happy and so grateful to be in that space. Amma Manson, we love you to bits, you know. And yeah, I thank you so much for being here. Minim sama ho donti na wa ha. Nyamin shira obebre. Nyamin shira obebre no nya okese. But sis, next week Saturday, we've got to talk about this whole mortgage issue and housing and whether it's a good thing to do or not, and the pros and cons and all of those things. You're the money person, you're the numbers person. Who should do it? At what stage should you begin to think about things like that? Should you rent somebody's house forever? And all of those things, so it's clear and people can understand. Concepts are the same. Different countries may do things differently, but when it comes to money concepts, sika is sika. The concepts are the same. You have to manage money, period. It's also strategy, you know, what implementing in your local area and you know, tweak it to suit your situation. And I believe saying kanko. Thank you so much, darling. You are amazing. I love you. God bless you.
Thank you all so much for coming. Come next week and we'll be talking about some investments in properties, mortgages. We will try our best to educate you. And if you have any questions you want to ask, throw them to Sika and we will see what we can do. It is a very good thing to invest. Trust me. People who make money invest. Even though you put your money in the bank, you still have to invest if you want to make the money. If you listen to calculating, a friend is saying how soon your money can make when it's in the bank. It's not in our lifetime. It's not in our lifetime. Auntie, love you all.
Love you too. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you, sis. Guys, have a fantastic evening, night, afternoon, morning, wherever it is you are. God bless you and thanks for being here. We're signing out.